Listen closely. Before armies arrived, before banners fell, before empires collapsed, you heard footsteps, slow, deliberate, stopping at every door. A man arrives at your farm. He doesn't ask how your family is doing. He doesn't care about the drought. He doesn't care if your children are hungry. He opens his ledger and with a single number, decides whether you survive the winter. This is not a story about taxes. This is a story about how empires turned survival into revenue. How did ancient empires extract wealth from millions without banks, computers, or modern law? And why did this system make empires unstoppable until it destroyed them from the inside? Empires are expensive. 2,000 years ago, power was not symbolic. It was physical. Soldiers had to be fed, roads had to be built, cities had to be supplied. Borders had to be defended. The Roman Empire stretched over 5 million square kilometers. No income tax, no digital money, no central payroll. Yet Rome moved armies faster than any civilization before it. There was only one way this was possible. Someone, somewhere, was paying. And usually, they were paying too much. Mechanism number 1. Taxes were taken, not paid. Ancient taxes were not voluntary. They were extracted. People didn't calculate percentages. They surrendered portions of life itself. Grain from fields, wine from presses, animals from herds, days of forced labor. In Egypt, farmers handed over grain directly to state granaries. In Rome, wheat fed legions hundreds of miles away. Taxes weren't numbers, they were calories. Mechanism number 2. The state delegated cruelty. Empires learned an early lesson. Let someone else be hated. Rome auctioned tax rights to the highest bidder. These men, publicani, paid Rome up front, then went province to province collecting whatever they could. There were no rules, only targets. If a village owed 100 units and the collector took 300, Rome didn't ask questions. This turned taxation into a business and suffering into profit. Mechanism number 3. Knowledge was power. Tax collectors knew everything: land size, crop yields, family structure. Census records weren't about representation. They were about precision extraction. If you existed, you were counted. If you were counted, you were taxed. To disappear meant abandoning society itself. As empires matured, their hunger grew. Luxury replaced necessity. Palaces expanded. Bureaucracies multiplied. Elites demanded more. Taxes rose, regardless of reality. Bad harvest? Still taxed. Disease? Still taxed. War destroyed your village? Still taxed. In Rome, farmers sold land to survive, then sold their freedom. Debt slavery returned quietly. People stopped improving farms because improvement meant higher taxes. Success became dangerous. Production slowed. Fear replaced ambition. By the late Roman Empire, the situation became desperate. The state faced a paradox. It needed more revenue from a population that was producing less. So Rome did something extreme. It froze society. Jobs became hereditary. If your father was a farmer, you could never leave. If your father was a taxpayer, you inherited the obligation. People were no longer citizens. They were revenue units. Taxes were no longer collected to support the empire. They were collected to keep it alive. That's when resistance began, not with rebellion, but with withdrawal. People fled cities, hid production, left land uncultivated. An empire can survive enemies. It cannot survive silence. 1. Inflation as a tax. When extraction failed, empires turned to currency debasement. Less silver, More coins. Prices rose. Savings evaporated. Inflation became a hidden tax on everyone. 2. Tax collectors became moral villains. In Judea, tax collectors symbolized occupation. They weren't just rich, they were collaborators. That's why ancient texts speak of them with disgust. They represented a system that drained life itself. 3. Loss of legitimacy. Once people believe this system exists only to take, compliance ends. Empires don't collapse overnight, they hollow out. Today, taxation is cleaner, digital, legal, abstract. But the logic hasn't changed. Instead of grain, we give time. Instead of livestock, we give future labor through debt. Instead of tax farmers, we have institutions. The empire no longer sends collectors. It embeds itself into the system. Automatic, invisible, relentless. Taxes reveal the soul of a system. When fair, they build civilizations. When excessive, they rot them. Ancient empires believed power meant unlimited extraction. History proved otherwise. No empire collapses because it taxes. It collapses because it forgets why people tolerate taxes at all. So ask yourself, at what point does contribution become coercion? And if the greatest empires in history couldn't escape this cycle, what makes us think we will? Comment below.